Ah, ah, ah. Well, I did a short video today. Mr. Neeson knows. I did a short video today, and in it I talked about, well, I spoke to any immigrants that are here, not just illegal immigrants, not just brown or other colored immigrants. Some of them will look like me. And I talked to them, and I don't think that I said anything that was all too encouraging, really. What I said to them, I said, I understand you might feel nervous right now in these times when you got someone like that Holman character saying he's rolling in, they'll send twice as many as they need if they have to. Just get the fuck out of the way. And it's like, well, so much for the church being a sanctuary, you know. And the thing is, you say, well, the Pope never did anything during World War II. Just sat back and let people get human trafficked right out of the goddamn Vatican City. If they didn't get baptized as Christians, they had all the addresses of the Jews around Rome, and they went and gathered them up. Hey, fucking Avon calling. Oh, sorry to see you're having dinner. Get your shit. They took them over there, and then they forced them all to get baptized, and those that wouldn't do it, they put them on a train to a concentration camp. That does actually fulfill the requirement to call something human trafficking against, like, it may be against the laws of the world even, you know, like groups that get together and say we can't do this, Geneva Convention type of thing. And there was one after around World War I too. I can't remember what that's called. What really the short was just about I understand that people are nervous right now. But it's not just the illegal immigrants or any immigrant. It's the idea of what the hell, I'm all tied up. Untie the knots. The gays have got to be nervous too. And then you go even further than that. Anybody that's been here even a few generations already, if you don't look like me, you've got something you might feel concerned about that you think about at night. Something never anyone should have to do is think about things as they're going to sleep and go all through the night with it. Something I would call a happy society is people that don't have trouble going to sleep. I sleep like a rock. I can go to sleep in a minute. I dreamed last night that I was walking down a dirt road in the woodlands, maybe somewhere around Gaylord where I grew up, the type of place like that. And I was with someone else, and I was telling that other person that I didn't know, but they were my friend. It's not somebody that I have in real life. I said, you know, I had a dream last night that I dreamed before, and I told him about the dream and how I had dreamed it, and I remember having dreamed it before. But at the same time, Mr. Neeson, I was actually dreaming. So how's that go? that doesn't have me thinking all night and not being able to sleep. But it could be my mind working something out. Has this happened before? How do we deal with it? And it has, and they know how. But these megalomaniacs have eradicated that. So it was basically an idea, this short that I did about how everybody's a little bit nervous right now. And it reminded me of how I had once seen an army training video about how to look out for fascism. And it was set pre-World War II. And these, like 4 or 5 guys, they walked up. There was some guy standing in the middle of a town center or something, and he's preaching shit. And these people gather around, like, that's how they lure you in. It's Michigan State. They had some preacher guy that would stand out there and yell and shit, and people would come out and scream at him and gather a crowd. But that's all you got to do is be a nut, and you can gather a crowd, and then you put the real workings in order. And this guy that was talking, it was in black and white, old movie video, and these 4 guys, I think it was, they're standing together, and that guy started screaming about the Jews, and pretty soon everybody in the crowd started looking around, and they looked, and one of their buddies was a Jew, and they kind of backed away from him, and this Jew buddy, he's like, what the fuck is going on here? And now he's standing alone. He's been separated from his friends, the people that he's trusted his whole life. And then that guy starts preaching about somebody else, and they turned around and they looked at their other buddy and they left him. And so then he started preaching about somebody else, and pretty soon you had all 4 of these best friends that were sitting there and concerned about the people that they're around and trying to get away from them. That's how it fucking goes. See? Siskov Pazunka. That's Polish for everything is in order. That's what they do. They lure you in, and then they fill your heads. And then what do you got left? Well, I had written a poem some years ago, and it deals with machines, man, and AI. I wrote it 23 September 2012. So there it is. 1 Chinese astrological cycle ago. I wrote it 12 years in between. But I've read this on air before, but I'm not going to read the whole thing. I guess you'd call it a poem. It's just a meandering, really. I think something and I fucking write it down. Otherwise, it stays with me too long. Once I write it down, it's out of my fucking head. The aliens have the information. I give this to you. We can read a little part. Maybe down at the bottom, I will attach the video where I read the whole thing. But right now, this is just about man. So when you act a little bit nervous, a little bit concerned, a little bit freaked out because you're next, you're next, you're next. When he's pushed away all of his enemies, he'll push away all his friends. When he's pushed away all of his friends, he'll push away the strangers he has come to love. When he has pushed away the strangers he has come to love, he'll push away his brothers. When he's pushed away all of them, and he wallows there in his loneliness and misery, with no one left to push away but himself, he will already be lost. And he'll push him away too. Man, you see all those that are nervous, it's not meant to make you feel better about it, but there's just a point to it. And it may be able to make you feel better. Maybe there isn't a way they can get everybody if they're trying to get everybody at once, but they won't do it that way. They'll go one caste system at a time. Not caste like dit. This one's just easier to get to. No caste has any more honor when it's all been pushed away. You see, when everybody's been pushed away that doesn't look like me, they're going to move up on the people that don't have as much money as them. Won't necessarily push them away. They'll just put them down in a hole because they'll have them in fear that they're next. But they need them. You know, all the people, all the educators they took and put on the farms to replace all the migrant farmers, they've been whipped to death and starved out because they're not meant to be farmers. They don't know how to work hard, a lot of them, and they were never expected to. They were here to teach us something and teach us to learn. But when it comes down to it and there's nobody left, it's what it comes down to. Those megalomaniacs, you megalomaniacs, should be paying attention to what kinds of questions your neighbors ask you. And sometimes you should look at them when they ask something that you don't feel comfortable answering and just smile and say, "Why do you ask?" And they'll look at you and they'll leave and they won't know that you don't like them anymore. You see, in this original poem, this meandering, I didn't use the word pushed away. When he's killed off all of his enemies, he'll kill all of his friends. When he's killed all of his friends, he'll kill the strangers he has come to love. When he has killed the strangers he has come to love, he'll kill his brothers. When he has killed the last of them, and he wallows there in his loneliness and misery, with no one left to kill but his self, he'll kill him too. I changed it to push away because I didn't want to scare you too much. But I'll see if I can find the whole reading of that poem. I won't do it again, and I'll just connect it down below. Remember, right now, Marjorie Taylor Greene, after having won their presidential election, she's still screaming at people and keeping them like, why is she so upset? They won. And I'm like, oh no, these people are not happy having won. And she's trying to keep them all wound up so they're ready to go to fight because they bought all this, spent all this money on their bulletproof vests and their little hack shack, little, Derringer type pistols and all their prepper food. They want a reason to eat it. They want a reason to be able to look at the neighbors and say, see, I told you it was going to come in handy as they watched the neighbors starve to death and laugh at them. They're trying to keep people worked up. MAGAlomaniacs, you don't have to be a fucking maniac the rest of your life. Don't you think it's about time you start coming around to a logical understanding of what it is? And if you don't, because you're just watching Vixen News, switch it around a bit. Watch the Midas Touch. Watch this Brian Tyler Cohen. Even watch fucking Michael Cohen, just to get a better impression, another impression of what other people think of your poor leader.